And for the real ones out there, you can't incorporate the principles that you use in real life, that you use in the streets, for survival, into these corporate settings or into the music industry or entertainment industry. You're gonna be disappointed every time. Cause just to be real, like most of these cats ain't real. Most of these cats not moving off real principles. Most of these cats is moving off by any means necessary principle. Like you can't look at, certain ways that you move in your real life and equate them into ways that, people in business that you're doing business with should move, or that they should, move with these same type of morals and standards and things like that. I've been disappointed so many times through my career, thinking that I could share information with people, thinking I could share ideas with people. People steal ideas. People will go behind your back and will talk about some of the information that you shared. And I mean, and that happened in the streets too, like I'm not gonna lie. So it's like, a lot of times what I've learned is, studying the act of shutting the fuck up, it's gotten me so far. Just keeping my mouth shut, not sharing my ideas, not sharing how I feel about certain people, things like that. Real principles have no play in corporate settings, in the industry. They just don't. Now, I'm not telling you not to remain a real one. I'm not telling you to not move with certain principles, not to have tact and how you move and, and how you deal with people. No, I'm not saying that. Because if you a real one, you're going to be a real one. You're going to stay a real one. It's a few of us out here, you get recognized for being a real one. A lot of times I get frustrated being a real one because I feel like, they say that, like being a real one, being honest, like you aren't rewarded, or, you aren't rewarded as much. And a lot of times, like I get frustrated by that because I see so many suckers out here, like my man Booker T back here. I see so many suckers out here, that's moving, in a certain way. And it seemed like, why it seemed like, why it seemed like they reap all the rewards? Why it seemed like they get, all the accolades? Why it seemed like they, up front, or out front, you know what I mean? Like I used to get really frustrated by that. But then I started realizing and started seeing like how people move with me and how people, different ways that people recognize me as being a real one. Even to the point to where, I've had certain clients that have, given me, money to hold. Or I've had partners that have given me money to hold. And with me, you could come back a year later and your bread gonna still be there and it's gonna be good. And I'm not gonna be skimming nothing off the top, not gonna be, being funny with it. I break bread with my people. That's number one to me. I try to make money, honestly, the least important thing in all the situations that I'm in. When I say that, if you work with me, if you work for me, then you know that I'm a person who like money gonna be the last thing we worrying about. That's gonna be handled, and then we need to take this time to be creative. We need to take this time to be innovative. We need to take this time to, be thinking outside the box and doing dope shit. So that's where I stand with that. Don't expect for people to treat you, have the same type of principles that you have. I know I've been burned so many times thinking that. And, my moms would always mess with me and say, like, you just think that everybody moves square like how you move. And it's funny because I used to be like, square? Like that. But now I'm proud to actually say square. Now I'm proud to, say, moving in a certain way, because I appreciate people knowing and seeing how I move, just credibility that I've gained from the way that I move, has gotten me in so many more rooms, has gotten me so much more business, put me in positions to, be rubbing elbows with certain people that I would have never expected to, just because I move in a certain way. So you've been somebody where people been fucking you over, just not moving in a way that you wish they would move. Like, don't be discouraged by that. Don't match energy and stay true to yourself, because as long as you stay true to yourself, in the end, you're gonna be good. Like I always say, the real will prevail. Know what I mean? Like the real, like we gonna come out on top. It's just a matter of time. And hindsight is 2020. So it's hard while you in the process, while you in the situation, to see how you gonna be able to reap the rewards of being a real one. That was like a tongue twister right there. But the real will prevail all the time. You just gotta wait your turn. It's all in God's divine timing. And can't none of us call that. None of us know when that is. But when it happens, you're gonna be so happy that you remain true and that you didn't move, like a fuck boy. You didn't move like how these folks around you move, compromise like what's in your heart, then compromise, you being a real one. Because the real will prevail. And that's real spit from your boy Spit.